Each testing session results in a huge amount of data. So what to do with all the data? Of course, you want to find the essence of it. You want to find the most valuable insights. You have written down a bunch of post-its, a bunch of notes, and most importantly is that you look at those right away, because if you wait for 2 or 3 days, you might not be able to really remember the context in which you've written down the notes of what the people have said. So when we are reviewing our testing session, we are not only looking for problems, we are also looking for solutions, of course. So at the beginning of each testing session, we set up specific hypotheses. And at the end, of course, we want to figure out whether it's true or false. It's kind of like a scientific experiment. But what is most important is that we look at things that the testees expect or not expect. So something like, oh, I didn't expect that. I would have expected it in the upper right corner, for example. This is something we really need to spot and figure out in order to see if we're going into the right direction or rather not. Another question is, what is actually considered important information when looking at the results, and when do we need to change the design because of that information, because of the feedback that we have received? So if one person says something, it doesn't mean you need to change the design because of that. You need to have a critical mass of people who have said or gave similar feedback, which is super important. Secondly, you will probably talk to different target groups. So it makes absolute sense to cluster these target groups, let's say, into newbies, into digital natives, and into power users, and then based on the feedback of the target groups, take decisions. For example, add an onboarding screen in order to have the newbies understand the solution in a more easy and seamless way. What results we're going to receive highly depends on the stage in which we're testing. If we're testing in a wireframe stage, everything is black and white. We're focusing on the pure functionalities of the solution, which is super important, but sometimes difficult for the end users, because it's tricky to figure out what box is for what functionality. If they do find it out, we know, okay, it's easy to understand and we're going in the right direction. Secondly, what we can test is the user interface, the click dummy, which is fully visual and gives us also great insights. For example, if a user recognizes a specific button. They do tend to focus on the visuals too much, and that's why it's super important to test both the wireframes in black and white and then the fully visual click dummy. Most importantly, considering all of those information, if you do testings, if you get feedback from the end user that something doesn't work, that they spot a specific problem, take that in. It's super valuable feedback because it helps you improve your product at the end. So don't get attached to your design, iterate, change it, and make it better.